Zimmel, welcome home, buddy.
Dude, I cannot believe I'm back. It's insane.
The last time we did this shit, it was a total novice attempt at this.
Yeah.
Remember, I think I had gotten this very equipment that I'm holding in my hand and didn't know what the fuck to do with it. Since then, we have covered nearly a complete college football season for the first time since you and I graduated the old Texas State.
It's crazy. You know, you were talking about it before, like the last time we were together, and I can tell you the last time we were together, it was preseason for football.
Yes.
Because I had huge white legs coming out of shorts.
Correct.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, no, but we're back, we're here, we're not going anywhere except to Dallas for the bowl game. Besides that, no, we are locked in, man, and it's so good to be back in Texas.
Do you want to tell people what you're up to, like in the new year, or?
Yeah, 2024, I'll be doing a WOAI 1200 and do morning producer, stuff like that. I said, you know who has the most fun in the world is Jakob Rodriguez doing morning TV. So I'll do morning radio, and we'll see if we can
every day is such a joy for me.
Yeah, we both get on the same level here, which is good for podcasting because if you know about podcasting, you got to have two to dance, and now we're on the same wavelength here, so it'll work out hopefully a lot better.
Yeah, I got a couple things I want to knock out before we get to our interview. We talked to Matthew Bartlett from the Roost. Very fun dude. You know, there's a surprise at the end, though. Maybe I'll throw it in there. but let's talk about kind of the elephant in the room right now, right? Obviously, Texas State has a pretty successful season, even not playing this bowl game yet, right? Obviously, we're looking forward to a big dub come the day after Christmas, which is now in like 5 days or something like that now.
A late Christmas present, yeah.
Late Christmas present. But everybody's talking about GJ's contract. On Brant's podcast, State's Up. He talked to Don Coryell, friend of the podcast.
Yeah,
obviously.
friend of the pod.
You guys heard it here first. But they're looking at like basically a contract extension. But I was telling Zimmel, it's like they already know what year one is going to look like. He's going to be the first millionaire coach. That's a given. But now they're talking about how long are they going to extend this guy actually? Is it going to be 3 year, 4 year, 5 year? I don't know. And then how many millions does he get? Or how close to the big number does he really get? You know what I'm saying?
We talked a little bit beforehand about what's too long of a coaching contract. You don't want a double-digit coaching contract, but 3 years feels like the right amount of time for GJ. Considering how successful year one was, you're giving him 4 years. Now the real question would be, when you give him more time, does that mean he can go get more recruits, like high school recruits, versus using it as transfer U? Yeah. Because to me, looking at the tea leaves, looking at the writing on the wall, if you have a coach who's there for sure for 4 years, you give him a contract extension, you know he's going to be here for however long he's going to be here for. If he starts recruiting high schoolers and starts trying to go get 3-4-star guys from different university or different high schools, that to me means that he's completely committed to Texas State.
As you were mentioning, early signing period going on right now.
Yeah.
Last night, I actually did something for once on this podcast. I've figured out who the hell is committed and who the hell is actually signed. NCAA, this early signing period starts today, December 20th. But there are some guys who are already signed, spoken for. I don't know what the fuck the date means for that. I don't think anybody does, really. I think everybody's just kind of making it up. Or maybe you just sign it, but you don't date it, and that's a legal document. Maybe that's what they do.
You sign it, and then you date it the day that you are going to commit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mission accomplished, I guess.
You're signed. What is it? You're signed, and then you're committed?
Yeah, but Brad Jackson, quarterback who signed today, really November 8th or November 12th or something like that. It was before Thanksgiving.
So is it you commit, then you sign, or you sign, then you commit?
I think you commit first, then you sign. Which is why, and I complain about this every time I have to recover a recruiting cycle. Most specifically last season, because I was like, oh my God, are we really going to have to do this shit? Do I really want to do this podcast? And then we signed that Dave Campbell's deal.
They cut that check, and then we were like, I guess we're doing recruiting. But last night I knocked out 18 commits. Since then we've already had 2 other guys that I hadn't expected that I was like, oh wow, that's it's kind of like the type of when you do that list, it's always evolving. So you almost are doing the list and then hoping that nothing changes by the time we put the podcast out.
Yeah, I mean today it doesn't even fucking matter. We can say anything and anything could happen still.
That's true.
It doesn't matter. I guess. And that's kind of where I'm at still, is does any of this matter? Because we got TJ Finley in June. And if you want to do this at home, by the way, all you have to do is go on to twitter.com, aka X, and then just go to GJ Kinney and then go to his likes. And then he's literally just interacting with all these players nonstop. So it's takes 10 seconds. And then I just cross-reference that with Colton's list. And he was wrong. I had to correct my list. Will we ever be perfect? I don't think so.
We strive for perfection, but we never achieve it.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Here's the interview with Matthew Bartlett from the Roost.
Tired of winning the tailgate, but losing the games? We can't help that. But we can tell you what the hell is up with each team and what's going on across sunny San Marcos. Texas State fans, get on your feet. You're listening to Squarin' Around with Jakob Rodriguez and Andrew Zimmel.
Don't pretend that, I was just a fucking another dude off the street. Nah, dog. I was Jesus of Nazareth, and you were one of the dudes who was fishing. Let's get that straight.
I think you were Pontius Pilate of KTSW, and then I rescued you from the allegations. I think that's what happened.
I washed my hands of them, bro.
Welcome to Squaring Around, everybody. I'm Jakob Rodriguez, as you know. My very, very humble co-host is Andrew Zimmel, the Texas State Sports Press. And this week, we are joined by Matthew Bartlett, the director at the Roost. Covers all things Rice athletics. Getting ready for a big day tomorrow. That's when the early signing period starts. Matthew, let us into your world, man. What do you do for the Roost? What is your experience with Rice as a whole? And what are you most excited for leading up into next week? Not just Christmas.
That's a lot of things.
But there's
how about you pick one? You pick one question, you go from there.
Well, I think all three of those subjects just kind of naturally ebb and flow into each other.
Yeah, well, right now I'm just swimming in the middle of just a PSA to whoever's in charge of college sports. Can we not have a signing period in the middle of bowl season?
That's ass.
And portal and just it's dumb. So right now, the Roost is paying attention to everything that's going on in that world and bowl prep and covering Rice football and basketball and what other sports are happening right now. I don't know, man. Christmas is happening. I gotta go buy gifts for the family. I'm making it. It's fun. It's kind of a bit hectic, but one day at a time. I'm thankful to get a bowl game to cover, so I'll count that as a positive.
Well, you had one last year too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is the second staff in Rice football history or I guess third time they'll go to back-to-back bowl games. So not the norm after 100+ years of football.
Before the season, did you think that they were going to go?
I think that was the expectation. I think if Mike Bloomberg wanted to still be here and be the head coach at Rice, that was kind of the marching order, not just to get to a bowl game, but to get to a more traditional 6 wins bowl season. Because last year they got in with APR and grades at 5 wins, which is kind of very on brand for Rice, but not as satisfying when you look at a final record of 5-8. Doesn't really feel like 6-6 or hopefully 7-6.
So JT Daniels joins Rice. What was it, early spring?
Yeah, he comes in January with that signing class.
So is that like the biggest transfer that Rice has had in the last couple years, at least in the transfer portal era? That because he was a big name guy. Like JT Daniels was supposed to be the next big college quarterback before he got to Rice.
I mean, he's competing with one of his current teammates, I'd say. You got to go back to the 2018 signing class, or I guess he would have early reclassified to 2017. He was a top 5 quarterback in his class, and his current teammate, Luke McCaffrey, was a top 5 quarterback in the successive class. That's back when they did the dual threat and the traditional pro style passing designations. So both of them top 5 quarterbacks and, putting their stamp on, one of them being a top quarterback in program history and JT for Rice and Luke being one of the top receivers.
I love Luke McCaffrey.
What was the hashtag this year for it? Was it academic brutality or intellectual brutality?
Intellectual brutality. Academic is on brand too. That's a good one.
Yeah. Well, that's for next year. That was spearheaded by Marco Regalado, who's now at UTRGV, right?
So the intellectual brutality actually came with Mike Bloomer. He coined it when it was over at Stanford as an OC with Andrew Luck in those days, and he kind of brought that with him over to South Main. But yeah, Marco's down in the valley. We love him too.
Nice.
I want to talk more about JT Daniels. I know he's not playing in this bowl game. He's medically retired, but he played some of the best games I've seen a Rice quarterback play. The win against Houston, Luke McCaffrey is just such a fun player. It must have been really fun to cover Rice this year.
It was fantastic because, and especially in today's transfer portal era, right? Everybody's got a quarterback on their team that, he got a cup of coffee he never played, but he was the backup at Syracuse, and now he's coming down to the Sun Belt, or now he's coming back to Conference USA, and he could be the next guy, and everybody gets excited. But the thing with JT is he was really good at USC, and he was really good at Georgia, and he didn't lose his job because he was bad at football. He lost his job because he got hurt twice. And then he goes to West Virginia. That kind of program is in upheaval. That's the only time he actually gets benched in his career for performance. So you kind of knew coming in, this isn't just, another retread guy he's been a good college football player, and in his 100th year of college football, he should know what's going on. So dropping him into a pro style system with a guy that has more reps than just about anybody in college football, you kind of knew fireworks were coming. But yeah, man, I mean, up their points per game by a full touchdown at least, and we're just slinging it. Went from a ground and pound team to someone that, JT threw for 400 yards a couple times and did so on basically a bad ankle for most of the season.
And it made sense to me, watching him play with this offense, it just made sense for him to throw the ball around. And that's not something he got to do so much at Georgia or even at West Virginia, really show off that arm strength. The last time I saw him use all three levels of the field the way that he did this year was when he was playing at USC, and that was his freshman year, and look, he played well. He wasn't a good USC quarterback. In the halls of Trojan history, he will be forgotten. But
yeah, because the ones you're comparing him against were 21, 22 years old. They were junior, senior years.
But okay, I don't know. I'm going to push back.
I'm not going to say that he would have gone on to be an all-time great at USC. I'm just saying the comparison, all-time great at USC quarterback, is a pretty high bar.
Sam Darnold played better than JT Daniels at the same age. I'm really impressed with JT. I was really impressed with JT this year, but he is second fiddle to Luke McCaffrey, right?
I think Olivia Rodrigo at USC overshadows JT Daniels at USC.
That's a fair point. Luke McCaffrey, is he everything that he's billed to be?
He's incredible. I just, there's so many guys that you're like, oh, we'll take him too. We'll recruit him because his dad or his brother was so good. And, you come in with the name brand and you almost kind of discount it, right? Because you're kind of here because your last name is the same last name as that other guy, but he comes onto campus and he's just an incredible athlete in every sense of the word. And his work ethic, man, it's the most overrated, cliched sports thing. But when you combine somebody that naturally could roll out of bed and be the best player on the field with someone who wants to be the best player on the field, it's fun. Just a highlight reel catch or two or three every week.
Well, and he played, was it his best game against Houston or one of the best games against Houston?
Take your pick. He had the play against Houston where he has the diving reception in the end zone, pops up and helmet flies off, and does the huzzah, gets on. It was Pop-Tarts Player of the Week. I didn't know that was a thing before they sent a pallet of Pop-Tarts to Rice for him for that catch. But yeah, I mean, had 199 yards. I'm trying to remember what game that was. Middle of the season. He's special.
You get Pop-Tarts, you get gummy worms, you get everything at Rice. Dang.
Yeah. Hey, center of the world.
How is that program trending? Because you said that if they didn't go to a bowl game this year, maybe the ground starts shifting a little bit. Where would you put, or what's the temperature at Rice right now?
I think Rice has the potential to be a really interesting test case for this, hyper speed world of college football today, because Mike Bloomgren is in year 6, which go down the list of college football coaches that make it to a 6th year and aren't like Nick Saban winning national titles good. You basically get 2 or 3 and then you better have it figured out. And then we still might get rid of you after 5 or 6 regardless.
I bet you that there's 20 coaches in college football of the 130 FBS programs. I bet there's 20 coaches who are 6 or more years at their school.
It's a short list.
Yeah.
The thing that's so interesting, I think, about Mike Bloomgren is he comes in and it's understood. It's hey, this is ground zero. year zero, you're starting from scratch. So he wins 2 games his first season, and then you throw out the COVID year, you get 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 wins in successive seasons as you go building up. So you can't argue that the growth is an upward trajectory. The trajectory is up. It's just, are you doing it fast enough? In most places, you go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everyone's like, oh, all right, you're not doing it. We don't get you the chance to get to 7 or 8 or go forward. So that's the interesting test case, I think, with Mike Bloomgren, is he's signed out the highest rated recruiting class in program history 4 times in the last 5 years. He's brought in guys like JT Daniels. He's brought in guys like Luke McCaffrey. So the talent's better. The wins are getting better. It's one of those things that, he's gotten a leash that's longer than just about anybody else in this industry. And there's a chance it pays off.
The Mike Elko really good, Texas before Mike Elko went to Texas A&M. Do you think that's like a fair comparison? Because, Rice isn't the smart people school.
The comparison of launching out. I know that Bloomgren would have loved to get back at Stanford. That would have been his ultimate dream, coming from there. West Coast guy, has a bunch of roots there. That would have been an ideal state, but hadn't gotten the skins on the wall at that point last year when that job opened. So yeah, I know that he's really happy with where he's at right now. He's not going to jump if he gets things rolling, unless it's one of those, premier jobs that
Ivy League
kind of feels he could do well. Yeah, the Ivy League. If you could get him a Duke, a Northwestern, maybe with everything's going on there, Stanford, that kind of thing. But he's not going to up and, I can go to Texas Tech. Yeah, no offense.
Yeah, no, that's spot on. That's
not happening.
But this, you were transitioning perfectly into what Jakob wanted to talk about when it comes to recruiting and everything else, because Texas State has been transfer U. They kind of took the same route of Colorado in that, like, we're just going to hypercharge the transfer portal. We're really going to try to go. It feels like Rice has done a little bit of that, but they're mostly trying to build a program through high school players. From at least from the outside looking in, they're going to recruit well. They're going to keep people in building, because, like we mentioned off air, I think that Rice might be one of the few teams that doesn't have a ton of guys in the transfer portal, like trying to get out of there, trying to go to an SEC or ACC school.
Yeah, I think it's super interesting. And obviously that creates its own challenge, because Rice can't bring in 30 guys from the transfer portal this offseason because everybody's still here. Mm-hmm. So there's not like, we have 20 scholarships left to give. It's like, no, we might have 5. So we got to make the right 5. So I think it's interesting. You talk about, culture is probably the buzzword of college. We got a great culture. We work hard. Yeah. Everyone's heard that before. But I think Rice is one of the places that is demonstrating where you get to the postseason, you haven't had a single player opt out of the bowl game, which is not the norm.
Well, we've had one opt out, medical opt out.
Well, he was told, we're not clearing you to play. He was not told, I'm going to
his
skip.
Doctor opted out for him.
Yeah, his doctor did the job, did the dirty work for him.
Yeah, but everybody has people who are hurt. That's not the uncommon. The thing for Rice to have 110 healthy bodies to all say, yeah, we want to go, is kind of odd. So yeah, I think they're going through the high school route. I think they've proven with the relationships they have and the track record they have to be able to do it. I mean, they've brought in some high quality guys from the high school ranks. So I think it's working out so far, as long as you sprinkle in. I mean, this year isn't what it is without JT Daniels. It's not what it is without Luke McCaffrey. And those were both transfers. So you got to hit and get the right pieces added in, but you need a strong base.
Does location help with that? Like, being in like a hotbed for recruiting, that like Rice can kind of, like, I'm not going to say they're going to get the number 1 player out of Houston or the Houston area, but they're probably going to get the number 1 GPA from one of the number 1 guys. You know what I mean? Like, if you got a couple all-state dudes who are competing in, Dallas at the state tournament, like, that's got to count for something.
Yeah, I mean, I think it matters. I think Rice has also done a good job in the past couple of years of balancing out between getting some top-tier guys from Texas. They got a lot of guys on the roster from Houston and the DFW area, but they also have a lot of high-profile guys like Josh Piercy, their top edge rusher. He's from New Jersey. Gabe Taylor is from Florida. They have guys from all over the roster that are impact players that they've gone out and they've signed and they've recruited nationally. So they've done that too, and then they've got a bunch of guys from close to home. So it's a good balance.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but those high schools, are those like STEM high schools by any chance? like science, technology, engineering. Like, okay, I just was
No,
curious because
I'm sure there's it's out there. They
Mhm.
turn over every rock, but there's a bunch of guys just went to public school in
Gotcha.
New York, Pennsylvania, and
I
Rice
was just
found them.
curious because I was listening to somebody talk about Stanford and how Stanford is like kind of targeting these schools that are like the magnet schools, but happen to have athletic programs, and that's like where they want to go and get their. So I was just curious if Rice potentially was doing that.
Like
I
the
mean, there's
selection
probably
of
some of
those.
that. They also have 3 guys on the roster from Hawaii, so they're going everywhere, man.
And we know what Hawaii public schools look like, so you know.
I was gonna say, I guess if you go to like one of those magnet schools, like the selection of talent itself is automatically like lower too. So I guess in like if you're recruiting or yeah, I guess your recruiting budget slash your coaching staff is already small. Like, why would you waste your time going to somewhere that's like not gonna turn up anything at all or could not? I don't know.
Yep, everywhere size. I mean, you got Trayshawn DeVones and DeBraylon Carroll were starters and team MVPs at Duncanville High School at 6A
Yeah.
Texas. So they could run the whole gamut.
So the Texas State fan base prior to this year really was just like about to burn down Bobcat Stadium. I feel. Zimmel talks about it all the time. The University Star ran a column about paving over Bobcat Stadium and putting more parking spaces. I did not endorse that, but I was the editor in chief at the time, so I stand by it. uh, but like, what is like the temperature for like Rice fans as a whole? Is this like, are you guys bought in completely? Is there like more room to grow, or like where do you want to see it go in the end?
I think it's a really interesting time for just Rice athletics in general because, when realignment and all this kicked off, I guess 2 years ago when the news of, Red River bolting and all of the expansion started, I don't think Rice fans really, everyone wanted to be better and to win more, but I don't think they really thought the AAC was on the table. And to get the invite when they did, credit to AD Joe Colgard for making that happen. And then to get into the American and have success, Rice is the only team in the American this year that beat a Power 5 team. They have the only Power 5 win in all of the AAC, which is thought to, be one of the premier G5 conferences. So to translate that into some on-field success, hey, we can argue about it. It's fine, but it's still a good collection of schools. But for Rice to have a good first year in the AAC and to have some of the success they've had in other sports, I think this is an interesting point for Rice athletics. Is like, hey, you get the more prominence. You're on ESPN now and not Facebook. What can you do with it? So the results have been positive. Hey, in all
You think he's
seriousness,
joking,
that
Jacob,
was
but he's
Conference
not.
USA.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That was Conference USA, and so they're
up
glad to not be
yours,
there.
UTSA. That's what I gotta say to that.
No, that's what yeah. I forgot that Houston was in the Big 12. You're
I
like,
did
the only
too.
Power 5 win, and I was like, yeah, I guess you're right.
We were going through the stats, and they're like, yeah, if Rice beats Houston, it'll be the first time they beat a Power 5 opponent since whenever. And I was like, oh, I forgot. I forgot this was a Power 5 game.
I think Dana Holgerson forgot too.
Well, that kind of showed. So, but it counts.
It was crazy. Did they play?
Put it in the record books.
Did they play you guys after they had that wild West Virginia win, or when was that? Or where does that game intersect between everything?
Well, it was week 2 when Rice and Houston played. I forget who they played.
So you sent them on a downward spiral, really, if you think about it.
Something like that.
I very much was calling for Dana Holgerson's job when Rice beat him. And
you were
that was not to say
one.
that I didn't think Rice was going to be good, but I was just like, Dana, dude, come on, what are we doing here? Like, come on. Tom Herman doesn't lose that game. Like, come on, what are we doing? Tough times.
And didn't you beat him in some sick uniforms too? Some of the sickest uniforms in the game at Rice.
Yes, those were the baby blue Houston Oilers throwbacks. They were
nice.
Beautiful.
Money.
Are they going to get to wear them again?
I don't know. I know that when they've done some specialty uniforms in last couple years, they've sent them home with the players and said, go put them up in your wall or whatever. I'm not sure what happened to those, but I would petition for it. They were good.
I know the Titans are being like crybabies about all that type of shit. They're like, well, we're the Oilers. It's like nobody thinks that. Nobody.
Well, they sued the University of Houston.
Yeah,
for the uniforms, but Rice did not. get sued. Rice was given a free pass to say,
They
yeah,
know
you
that they're
can
not going to win that lawsuit, bro.
run.
They're like those Rice lawyers. I don't
Well,
want to mess
I
with
think
that.
there's a connection that, the Oilers played at Rice Stadium, which
Yeah.
counts for something. And then the Rice's uniforms aren't like an exact replica. They say Rice on the front and not Houston. So
True.
Can we talk about our incredible merch over at Elite Sports?
Yeah, what you got?
Just in time for the holidays. Get your squaring around hat.
Hey, you like it?
I fucking love it.
I like how it's the traditional green snapback. I've never owned a snapback like that. I've wanted one so bad in like the Obey era, and now I finally can. EliteSports.com. Use code SQUARE at checkout.
It's so cool, and I use code SQUARE for home field apparel. I did a little Christmas shopping this past week. I got some siblings who go to different schools that home field does support. Use code SQUARE, got my 10% discount. So, and I put a little bit of money right back in our pocket. So
Yeah,
shout out
Are you effing kidding me? They support the Merchant Marine Academy before Texas State.
They support Texas A&M.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And
Country road,
I don't think they do UTSA though.
take me home. They don't.
So that's the other one. That if they got if UTSA popped up before Texas State, we'd have a problem.
I belong.
I don't know why they don't make T-shirts with like the rivalry. That'd be a cool rivalry T-shirt. So what do you think? How do you think it's gonna boil down? Day after Christmas, Boxing Day in some places in the world.
Boxing Day, some places in Canada, in the UK.
Canada and the UK, they're gonna be.
I guess
having
it's Boxing Day everywhere.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I was like, what are you talking about? Why are you exclusion? It's on my calendar, actually.
yeah.
I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. You look at these two teams, I think Rice has shown, even without JT, that they have a pretty good offense. I think Texas State has shown that they will have one of the best offenses in the country. And then you look at the other side of the ball, that Rice has a pretty good defense, and Texas State's defense is not good. So it's going to kind of boil out. I think you have two solid units for Rice. I think you have an elite unit with Texas State's offense, and I think you have a defense that has had some warts. So
I think you're the first guest to say that to us. That Texas State didn't have a good defense. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
we've been how many points did they give up in their last game? Like 77. What
See, okay, but timeout. Like if you're box, but here's the thing: if you're box score watching, the other team's quarterback should have had like 8 touchdowns. But that's not
fair.
what happened. Yeah.
It's not all bad. Like the pressure they create, the havoc plays, the sacks, like there's some good stuff there. It's just not like you're going to win your game. Texas State's going to win this game scoring 50 points, not 10. They're not going to win a 10-7 game.
Come on. That's most teams in college football. I would argue most teams in college football aren't like riding on their defense. If you're Georgia,
that's
or
true.
Alabama, sure,
but this season, Rice has won multiple games because they had the better defense.
It's like
it's an offensive sport. You're not going to win games scoring 10 points most of the time, but put the ball down. Can you stop them from scoring on this drive?
Give me an example.
Don't tell me
to go look somewhere. I'm saying give me, because I'm trying to go through this in my head. I watched a bunch of Rice games this year. I'm trying to remember a time where it was like,
I'm giving you two.
Quarter, defense shows up and like they fucking grind out and win a game.
FAU, last game of the season. Last game of the season, they had the FAU gets the ball back with 1.5 minutes left. They target LeJonte Western on 4 consecutive passes, one of the best receivers in the AAC. 4 incomplete passes, 2 breakups by Gabe Taylor wins the game.
Okay.
You look at Charlotte, they are gifted a turnover on the 5-yard line, and otherwise it's a shutout.
Charlotte, I'm not really writing home about, but I'll take it.
I'm not either, but I'm saying this is not the 85 Bears, like it's not defense.
Yes.
But if you at some point,
it's respectable.
You got to have a defense at some point. If it gets close.
I would say that if you do, I don't know if you guys ever read the sports pages, and they would have like the basketball they do this all the time where it's like point guard versus point guard, who has like the edge. And if you did that for this game, and you were like quarterback versus quarterback, running back versus running back, receivers, defense, I think I'd go defense push, but I do I do like that you're standing on business and saying like, no, the Rice defense is like marketably better than the Texas State defense. Because I think that you might be right. But you're just the first person to say that, and I'm like, this is great. Like I'll eat it up.
I think.
Yeah, I mean these are two bowl teams, so we're not slumming it, but
Yeah.
I've been saying this defense is a little trash for a while because they use that whole bend don't break model. You know, they're like, as long as they don't score, we're cool. Any team though could probably average at least 5 yards of carry on the ground, especially if you have a semi-mobile quarterback, which has just been like our Achilles heel all year. Is like, regardless of whatever's going on, if a quarterback gets on the edge at all, we're done. We're cooked. And you'll get 5 yards or 6 yards, or you'll get a first down that could prove pivotal. Or vice versa, like the defense will jump off sides or just play very undisciplined football at key moments, and that'll lead to scores too.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah.
So who's going to play
it's not
quarterback
great.
in this game?
hey, I will say, here was one stat that I found. Of the 84 teams playing in the postseason, only 2 have allowed more points per game than Texas State.
Damn. That's not good.
What are those 2 teams?
USC and USF.
Kind of good company.
I would rebuttal and say that the numbers.
No, that's a
skewed.
fact.
The numbers are skewed a little bit.
The last argument Andrew had was like, Matthew, please tell me one stat that'll make me.
No, I'm just saying the numbers are a little skewed.
And then you told him 2 more after that.
Numbers are a little skewed here due to the blowout. And
I got to stay on brand.
And the Texas State offense gets up and down the field pretty quickly. You're going to have more high-scoring games, but I hear what you're saying.
This is a Rice guy you're talking to, Andrew. Okay, if there's something out there on the internet, he's read about it.
I brought numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
I am still going on a limb here and saying that, like, the Rice defense is not good enough for me to be like, they have a good defense.
That's fair.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know, like I said, like if we did like position by position, it's probably I give it to Rice. You know what? I'll go out. I'll give it to Rice. Just because of how undisciplined Texas State has been. It's true. Like, I mean, like Jacob, we talk about it, like, but Colton's not going to tell us that. You know, like Kef's not saying that. We're not saying that. It's like a bad defense. So.
No. I mean, there's, you know what the thing is, because of like the kind of movie like season Texas State has had. Like, I even took a copyright strike on one of our YouTube videos with Clarence Clearwater at Revival, like under as they jumped in the river. Something told me long ago. It was fire, but that video was demonetized. But because of this like movie season that Texas State has had, like I feel like people immediately are like, oh my God, this is it. You know, anything can happen. But because of that mentality, everything does happen on the field. And sometimes we forget to stick to some game plans. And sometimes we don't do what we're supposed to do on the field.
That was a nice word salad you threw together there.
What?
Trying to figure out what it all means.
You like that? That's all anything is now, man. I don't know. This is also our first bowl game ever that we've ever gotten to. In the modern era, this is Texas State's first bowl. So I don't even know what the hell post bowl or post season coverage really looks like. Honestly, like you were saying, we're usually talking about basketball by now. I don't even care about recruiting half the time because it just didn't matter up until last year.
Yeah, learning on the fly.
Dead ass.
Who's playing quarterback in this game?
AJ Padgett.
Have we seen him this year?
He started the last 3 games for Rice. He started the season finale last year at North Texas and started the bowl game against Southern Miss. So this will be 5 or 6 in his career.
Gotcha.
He stumbles into a Rice degree. That's pretty fortunate, honestly.
Hey, good football, good degree. A lot of people happy.
So is Rice the Ivy League of Texas, would you say? Because
that's what they call themselves.
Hold on.
Of the river. I'm just saying.
That's wild. Yeah, you're probably right, but damn.
I thought that was common knowledge. That's in the market.
I don't even know what the hell Andrew's getting.
No, I'm just saying, like, it kind of feels just like insane to say that out loud. Be like, this is the Rice of Tech, or this is the Ivy League of Texas.
Because the only other school that you can compare Rice to is, I mean, it wouldn't be TCU. TCU's programs aren't that good, but like UT, right? Like UT
academically, like SMU, maybe.
Yeah,
you have a law program and a bunch of other shit. So yeah, probably.
So of the non-Ivy leagues, Rice, Stanford, Northwestern, Vanderbilt.
Isn't Stanford in the Ivy League? How's that?
Vanderbilt, Duke.
So you put Duke in there, would that be 5?
Yeah.
Because I think you only get 8. Because there's like 8
Oh,
Ivy League.
am I building my non-Ivy Ivy?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. You'd probably throw in like I don't know, Cal, maybe USC.
I thought Michigan. I
Okay,
thought
yeah, Michigan would be easy, but I don't know. Can you take from the Big Ten? I guess USC is Big Ten now, right? I
Well,
don't know.
yeah, well, we put Northwestern in there. I'm pretty sure they're still in the Big Ten.
Let's do a
I
wild
don't.
card, Jim. UIW.
Doesn't feel right.
Welcome to the Ivy League of Texas.
Oh, geez.
UTEP.
UTEP. Welcome to the Ivy League. That's cool. Texas State just hired Barrick Neely too to be their running back coach. So there's a lot of changes going on in San Marcos, and not just talking about horses and Ferraris, I guess. GJ Kinney has affectionately called this the Bailiff Bowl too. That's fun. David Bailiff coming back.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting tie. I don't think a bunch of Rice folks really realized it until Bowles got finalized, and I think somebody put it out that he'd come on staff as a special assistant or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, in like an advisory role or something similar to what he has now, right?
It's
So,
it's called the peace offering to the older fan base. That's what that is. You bring the old guy around, and Barrick Neely too. Like kind of you bring the older guys around, and you hope you get some of that alumni support that left when we changed our name, and all that type of jazz.
They lost our forwarding address when the name changed.
Dead ass, bro. I was sending all my mail to Southwest Texas State, and all of a sudden it's returned to sender. So we don't know who that is anymore. It's like, whoops. I'm dead naming a university, bro. It's not cool. PC principal would not be happy.
We wrote up something for you, Matthew. It's not like a exclusive for your subscribers, but I just wanted to share with everybody on air like how much of a brain Andrew and I share. We're both very excited about the return of our number one threat outside, Joey Hobart, the Utah Tech transfer that's changed our lives for the better. So I'm excited to see Joey Hobart. Is there, because you were saying our defense is kind of trash. Is there anything like from Rice that you're really
verbatim. That's exactly what I
That's what
said.
you said we're garbage.
Dead ass. He's like,
That was the headline I saw on the Roost. But
It's going up there after this, I'll tell you that.
Is there anything that you're super excited to see Rice take advantage of in that realm?
I'm really excited to see how the passing game goes and what we get quarterback play wise from AJ Padgett, because you look at the bowl game last year, he comes out after halftime and throws for like 200 yards, 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. So he's had some just unconscious football where he's just been slinging it and was up and down at the end of this year. I think if you get bad AJ Padgett, this offense doesn't click as well as it wants to, and that's where I think the Texas State defense, if they can get some havoc plays and they can get pressure, things get squirrely. I think it's going to be really interesting how the quarterback play is, how Padgett plays, because if he plays how he finished the year, what you saw him against FAU, makes some of those big throws and stays composed on third down, makes the right reads, gets some of the right plays, that's when things get cooking. And we'd all love a shootout the day after Christmas. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. So I think also something that's underrated is that this is going to be a very raucous atmosphere because, Texas State is obviously known for partying. Rice, underrated party school, I would say, right? Can you explain to everybody what beer bike is, what that whole culture is like too?
I think that's fair. There's a lot of there's some traditions in all of college that have dated back. And why do we do this? Because we did it 50 years ago. I think Rice has a lot of those, and I think beer bike is certainly one of those. People like to have a good time and then get on a bike, right?
Yeah.
that seems dangerous. That seems like a really bad.
I think no comment is the official university stance. I think that's that's the company line.
That's fire. No, it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good time. I'm excited. And I don't think, well, I don't know. Do you think it's going to reach capacity? We're going to hit some sort of record? What do you think?
I wouldn't think so. The day after Christmas makes it tough. I know it's close, but
I'm flying in from the valley to come see this thing. So
you are committed.
I'm to the bit, honestly.
Yeah, he's helicoptering in 32,000.
That's the record
capacity at SMU Stadium. That's a lot. I
Yeah, I
don't
don't think
know.
it's gonna happen.
28,
25.
Matthew.
23.
Yeah. What color is
Wow. Okay.
the Gatorade?
I can't wait for it to be like standing room only, and all of us look like idiots.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
Like for real, you talk about all these bowl games where it's pitting, like Northwest Central Tech against State, and you're just like, nobody cares. Like, I don't, these aren't two fan bases that really have ever had to think about each other for the past 50 years. Like,
Yeah, because people that got into Rice had Texas State as a safety school. That's why.
they swim in their own lanes. So, but I think it could be fun. Like, this could be a fun rivalry if you could get it going and get some intrastate, I don't know, intrastate hate.
It's one of those
T-shirt.
Hate. Dang. That's fire.
It's funny because it's one of those rivalries that, or not rivalries, but one of those games that, like, before bowls were announced, we were talking UTSA, UNT, like those were like the preferred ones, just because but Rice is really good too. That's gonna be a fun game.
I liked when you guys played UTSA this year. I was rooting for you guys. Well, because I hate UTSA, obviously. So I'm anti.
I've heard that from
Yeah.
some Texas State folks. Yeah.
Dude, those guys, man.
Pretty much all of them. I think every Texas State. I don't know a single Texas State person who doesn't like or does like UTSA.
And they hate us right back for the same reasons.
No, it's for different reasons.
Because we have a better school, because we have better degrees.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
We actually have like a college town. We're not like having to fight traffic to like go to class.
Hey, not too much on San Antonio. Giving me a lot. And it's also taking a lot from me.
Oh man. So
was a
what's your
fun
score
game.
prediction, Matt?
I hadn't gotten that far down the road. Somewhere in the 30s to somewhere in the 20s.
You
I
don't
don't
think
like
Texas
that.
State will
Don't like
score
the sound of
50?
that.
What the hell?
That Rice defense is gonna shut up TJ Finley, bro. He's gonna send him home and be like, go be a family man.
Hey, I think something that's been interesting and what we saw Rice do, a couple times this year and as in the past is when they get the ball and they're able to grind it out. You look at the FAU game, prime example, their fourth quarter, they had a 12-minute drive. And so one of the best things that Rice can do is Rice doesn't want to try and win this game 60-55. I don't know if the Rice offense without JT Daniels wants to get into a punching fest with Texas State TJ Finley. But if you can say, hey, grind it out, convert a couple third downs, milk the clock, get 8 minutes off and get a touchdown, that's a formula we've seen them use in the past, and I think they'll try and use again.
They're not going to try and area where Texas State is so weak at. If anybody takes advantage of clock situations or, I was pretty critical of GJ Kinney early on, not using timeouts in critical fashion like that. So I don't know. Could be scary.
Yeah, he forgets that you can't take him home with you.
Yeah, that's true.
He's welcome to try. Maybe it'll work this time.
True.
So something in the 30s is something in the 20s. Okay.
Something in the 30s to something in the 20s. I think it'll be... Nah, I don't even want to do that. I'm not doing it. Not doing it, Andrew. What do you think?
To make a score prediction?
No. 50-20. On the nose. And on the nose.
If they can get the ball to Luke McCaffrey, if Luke McCaffrey has like a game that they're like, shit, I wish Christian would have played in that bowl game type game, and be like, look, he's the better McCaffrey. He showed up for this bowl. If he has one of those type of what?
That's funny.
I love it. I haven't chatted with him to see if he's had any discourse back and forth with his brother about better McCaffrey status because he bowled.
Yeah, because famously Christian McCaffrey.
He was the kind of the start of all of this. Yeah, I remember him and Leonard Fournette.
Well, Jacob, in case you missed the story, Christian McCaffrey famously doesn't care about the children or the ticket holders because he opted out. He opted out of the Stanford Bowl game, being like, "I'm not playing," and he was really like the catalyst for other players being like, "Wait, we don't have to play these," and it caused a domino effect. To the point where we were concerned that we might not get bowl games anymore because the players just might not play.
You know who played in his steed? Trevor Spates, McCall Memorial graduate, who I tore my groin against racing in track.
Look at this small world. Christian McCaffrey gave Jacob's nemesis a platform to succeed.
Exactly.
So Luke McCaffrey's already got 2 up over here. I like this guy because he's playing. Jacob likes him because he's not Christian, so it's great.
But now when it rains, I can feel it in my loins. So, it's not all bad.
Oh, bro, I'm gonna go shootout 35-30, 35-30, but I'm not gonna pick a winner. Combined score 65.
You're lame.
That's
What
the
the hell? What the hell is that?
I noticed it was interesting. So odds makers had Texas State. I think it was 4.5 when it opened. Still somewhere around there.
Yes.
ESPN FBI projected Rice to win. So
but okay, the FPI might be the worst possible thing since the Cold War.
I'm not going to stand on it. I'm just going to say I think there's a lot of bowl games where you're just like, I have zero interest. This is going to be a landslide, whatever. I think this should be a good game.
This will be.
That's all I'm trying
fair,
to get.
And that's a fair one. All right, so we have the over/under bet. What is the odds that Jacob gets kicked out of the press box? Because I don't think it's 0. I think there's a shot here he gets kicked out, and they remove him for cheering.
I don't think I'll cheer. I did get removed from UTSA's press box. That's another layer to this story that Andrew's.
Jacob famously cannot keep his thoughts to himself.
It was one time, my first game covering something, and yeah, I made a little oopsie. But, we live and learn. I actually was welcomed back with open arms by that same SID this year. And I was like,
he's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I would have kept you out. I would have seen that press.
You would have boxed me out. I think it's because
I
work in San Antonio now that they're like, oh, well, he fucking works at one of the stations.
No, I would make it a point too. I'd put it on Twitter. Be like, this is a photo of the man. Do not let him near the stadium. Keep him off the sideline.
Security camera CCT. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'd make you an example.
I guess we're all luckier that I'm not an SID because I think I would do the same thing. I would just attack journalists all day. Just dox them.
God, I'm thinking about that, Matt. You're a journalist. Do you ever think about that? Like, I can't believe they're letting me get away with this.
I have a fortunate that Rice has a fantastic SID, and I've worked with some good ones. So I haven't had to go blows with a Jacob-esque SID yet. But
I one time ran across the field right after the game. So the final whistle blows. I take off streaking across the field, chasing our AD.
Wrong adjective. Streaking across the field.
Streaking, yeah, in dramatic fashion.
He took all his clothes off and just had a notepad and a pen.
Yes, that's all I had. No, I was talking to Larry Tice. So in the tunnel.
You were naked in the tunnel with Tice.
Doctors hate him. So do the SIDs. Sweet, man. Well, this has been really fun to catch up. Really fun to partner with another ROF podcast of always. So thank you, Matthew, for your time. Look forward to seeing you in what is it? Under a week? Just under a week?
A week? Yeah, something like that.
Like 6 days or something. I'll see you then.
I was told there'd be no math.
Thank you to Matthew for joining us. That was a super fun convo.
Now, you said I got combative with him.
I think you did.
I would if you thought I got combative with Matthew, I'd like you to take a moment and realize that was me at 2% of compatibility.
You know what it is? It's like when you get into a ring with somebody and you're just beating them up.
You thought Matt beat me up?
You got angry at him because he wasn't fighting back. You wanted him to fight back.
A little bit.
And I was Rocky's trainer. I was like, Rock, come on, Rock. You can't do it, Rock.
No, you're saying you're necking me on. You're like, oh, I can't believe Matt's giving you this shit. He gave you 2 numbers. I'm like, okay.
You know what our routine is though? I told you this off air when we got off the horn with Matthew. It was very good cop, bad cop.
I don't try to be bad cop. I try to have people give us honesty and
And then occasionally it's good cop, bad cop. And it's weird when those roles reverse.
Yeah, that is true. I can't think of a time where I've had to be the good cop with a guy and you've been aggro.
No,
you're very down the middle.
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway,
a little play down the fairway.
Matthew, thank you for coming on the podcast. I hope you don't think I got aggro with you because I don't think I did.
I do want to kind of swallow some ego a second. Congratulations to the UTSA Roadrunners on your first bowl win on your 5th try. So,
you know what?
4th time?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that UTSA got the win. Most importantly, I'm happy that they didn't disclose that Frank Harris got injured because there was a ton of gamblers who were sweating out the first half. When UTSA went down 14-0, people were very nervous. Well, pissed is also because normally what you would do is you would disclose, hey, by the way, for a month Frank Harris hasn't been able to play, and maybe he was able to play, and they just game time decision. But I'm inclined to believe that on December 1st they knew he wasn't going to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, they according to the Jeff Traylor after the Tulane game, this was a shoulder injury that happened then, and then it just kind of spiraled out, and he got a couple MRIs and a CAT scan and different shit like that, and they were like, it doesn't look good.
Now he's officially done AARP membership coming Frank Harris's way.
How many degrees did that guy have? Did he get a master's degree?
He's got to.
I hope so.
I don't know, 7 years. I know people who.
I'm not mad at Frank Harris, by the way, too. I'm super happy for all the road runners themselves. I hate their fans, which I think is the main sticking point. You know? I hate the graduates of UTSA who now get to hold this over us. And I already saw some of the tweets. We won a bowl game before Texas State. Congratulations, I guess.
Well, Texas State needs to win, and then we'll do bowl percentage.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Get the bowl percentage numbers and be like 1,000%, bro.
Because this is our first one ever, as opposed to their fourth one.
Exactly.
Fourth triad one.
It's kind of like, would you be celebrating Jacob's fourth marriage or my first marriage, right? You'd be more excited for the person who's getting married for the first time. The gifts are going to come in a little nicer, I think, for the first marriage. Fourth time, you're getting lucky if you get a pack of cigarettes at the wedding reception.
Maybe, So UTSA wins, blah, blah, blah.
Marshall loses. That's the more important thing. Sunbelt Conference, what are you doing?
Oh, I just saw Western Kentucky. This was playing at work. And I was like, oh, shit, ODU, Western Kentucky. ODU had a 30-point lead or something in the third. I was like, surely they don't choke it up. And, of course, this game was previously recorded. So I did some little box score watching. I was like, what the fuck? The Sunbelt lost another one?
Dude, Sunbelt.
Another East team, too.
And the East is so good. The Sunbelt all season, we're best group of 5 conference. We're doing so good. We should be the group of the Power 6. And then we go in the bowl season, they get their asses kicked, and you're like, this is really hard to propagate for you if you're not getting the job done, boys. And
did we do this? Did we put that in the air for Keith Gill? Remember we said last week, literally, the American Conference and the Sunbelt. We got to go head to head in all these matchups. We got to... I don't know. Tough scene. But we don't run the fucking conference.
Have we had Keith Gill on the podcast yet? Have we had Keith on the podcast?
No, we want to.
Keith, call me. I think that'd be a really good podcast.
Had we gone to Sunbelt Media Day, they had already pre-approved us. But since we didn't make the trip to New Orleans,
Maybe next year?
Maybe next year, yeah. I mean, we're already going to a bowl game. People are already scared. There's 2 of me now, and one's way bigger than the other. So, congrats, UTSA, I guess. I said there was a little bit of an Easter egg for that interview. You guys noticed we talked to Rice guy, right? The Roost guy, the director of operations for the Roost. So I was like, oh, this guy went to Rice, right?
No.
He showed us his Aggie ring at the end of the interview. I was like, what the fuck? These guys are everywhere.
I know they've
I forget, not everybody's like us. And
they've seeped into the media. This is why you can't trust the mainstream media.
So how do you go from 12th man, super cult vibes to
who cuts the
get
check?
The train in the background? No way!
Yeah! Who cuts the check? That's the most important
thing. We're at an undisclosed location right here, as you can see.
Right. Oh my gosh! Oh, that's why they say don't walk on the train track.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. Thanks for watching Squarin around.
Yeah.
This is the best thing that could happen to this podcast.
You think so?
Yeah. I was telling someone I'd never been to San Antonio Zoo.
I know. Just 2 gorillas.
Just two gorillas.
2
gorillas in here. I'm a gorilla in the fucking coop. Finna blow up in the zoo. I was going to say... Oh, Jeff Traylor in that Frisco Bowl coffee thing, he said that the entire team keeping Frank Harris's, eligibility or not, opting out, I guess you would say. But, is it opting out to be hey, this guy's hurt? He's medically, he cannot play.
It's kind of like what we're talking about.
He said that's the best kept secret in the history of San Antonio. There's not one better kept secret in all of San Antonio than that.
The fact there was 140 guys instead of 300, that's a pretty good, well kept secret.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I guess so.
I think Santa Ana.
There's nothing at the Alamo.
San Antonio didn't, or the Santa Ana didn't know much. I would say.
Well, they didn't even know where Davy Crockett's body was, and now he's at the San Fernando Cathedral.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's buried right there. I go there every Sunday to see his grave.
But is it Is it him?
It's the remains of the defenders of the Alamo. So anybody else that they scooped up, the Catholic Church scooped up.
Interesting. Okay, more than you know.
No, so I don't know. Best kept secret.
They did a good job keeping a secret.
I don't know. Yeah, they did.
I don't know TJ Finley's kids' names.
Me either.
That's a pretty good secret.
I know his Adidas ambassador code, not his kids' names. TJ Finley's still waiting to make a decision. Are you mad about it? Sad about it?
I'm still upset. I would like him to make a decision and like tell me what it is. But the other thing is, if he plays really well in this bowl game and balls out and we win a bowl game, like all of it will go water off a duck's back. It won't matter anymore if we win a bowl game.
You know, it's going to be crazy, though. If we do part of these podcasts in person from now on, like, we're going to be so fast because we're usually used to, like, a delay, but now we can play off of each other in real time. So these podcasts are going to go from being, like, an hour 15 to, like, 45 minutes. It's just us yelling at each other.
Yeah, I mean, that's the little, you know, I think that's good. I think that'll be fun.
Oh, dude, I'm so happy to have you back. And I'm really excited for next week because we'll be in
there.
person.
Yeah.
I will be there on the 25th, so I think I'll make a couple of those, like,
You're going to fly up on the 25th?
I'm flying up Christmas Day.
Oh, my God.
Because I don't know what the travel situation is. And I'm going to be in the Valley. So I got to go from the Valley to Dallas. One trip.
And you're flying?
Yeah. Well, because I want to do that because, let's say the flights crap out, I can still drive up if I need to. You know?
Gotcha.
That's my plan B.
So you're going to have a place to stay?
Yes.
My parents have been asking me to stay over the night. So are we going to have a sleepover?
I already told you. You should, because imagine if you came all the way from North Dakota and you're totally scot-free, and then you go, I'll be fine, just a fucking beaver Slurpee, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever, at Buc-ee's. You don't want that to happen.
What's nice is that I-35 has the lanes separated in north and west, or north and south, which is nice. Because I have been in that situation before where it's like, oh my God, two-lane highway, going either over the median. You know what? I think we do a sleepover. I think we paint each other's nails and tell secrets. And
I think so too.
I think it'll be fun.
I'm also thinking there's going to be an after party. If we get a little ring action. There's no coffee to dump on them. What happens? Because they dumped coffee on Jeff Traylor yesterday. So we're recording this on
First Responders
Wednesday.
Bowl?
Yeah. What do you get for the SERVPRO First Responders Bowl? A flood?
Here's what I would do. I would get a sheriff's badge, the old school sheriff's badge, and pin it to him. I think that's the way you do it. Call me.
You get a police escort.
You get a police escort no matter what. Win, lose, or draw. The cops come on the field and help you, like, you know, the coaches shake hands and walk off. No, give me the little star, give me the little sheriff badge, give it to GJ Kinney, and I would love that. I'd love Sheriff Kinney.
Sheriff Kinney.
It'd be great.
He's already doing, like, the cowboy getup and stuff, too. So.
Put it in the polls now. Put it on the polls. Is GJ Kinney Woody from Toy Story with the sheriff's badge?
Change our minds.
Change our minds.
It's going around. Thanks for watching, everybody. Follow us on Twitter. Keep up with our journey across the state. And tell us if you want to fucking see us. Just add us.
Yes. Add us. Tweet at us. If you have a bowl game or a bowl game tailgate, I know the alums are having one. Mm-hmm. We want to hang out. We want to see the fans.
I guess we've already like micro endorsed / influence our way to the maroon and gold one. So
we'll be there.
I know they're doing something. It's on our Twitter. Check it out.
Exactly. We'll be at that one, and imagine we'll probably end up at a couple other places. But we'd love to meet everybody. If you listen to the podcast, thank you. You made 2023 incredible. We have, one more podcast this year in 2023?
Yeah, I think we might do our first post-game podcast this entire season.
Probably.
And it's going to be probably audio only, because I can just cut it and just post it.
All right. And you guys love listening to us. So this will be fun.
No.
Thank you so much for listening and supporting this entire 2023. And we're back, baby. Back in Texas.
Bam, 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 bam.
We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
Better not come any closer.
Thanks for listening. New episodes out every Thursday. Follow the boys on Twitter. Eat 'em up. Eat 'em up.